Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I hope that you had a momentous New Year's Eve. I hope you had a chance to spend time with family, to reconnect with people, to just have a moment to relax and to maybe try to treat this new year, even though it was unlike any other, as a chance to start over or to reassess your goals, or to just, refocus that energy into being more creative in this new year. And what's kind of amazing about this time is that since we started, this pandemic, not like we didn't start it, but, since the pandemic started, there was no point along the year in 2020 that we were able to stop and look at our lives and say, okay, this is the perfect moment for me to reassess everything. It was something that I think all of us just did naturally because we were all in lockdown and we had a chance to kind of look inward. And so we got to do it in that way. But having to cross over into another year kind of allows for the natural way in which all of us are used to making resolutions and to starting to change gears, trying to find things that we can start from day one on January 1st and working towards them to the end of the year. It was a hard thing to do. I'll give you that. It didn't feel like New Year's Eve at all. It didn't feel like we crossed over into another year. It still kind of feels like we're back in March, and it's weird, to say the least. I mean, not to say that I bought in completely to, having resolutions every year. There came a point where the whole idea of resolutions just didn't make any sense. And so I started to look at the year ahead as, okay, what can I work on? Or like it was more like I'm going to carry over what I've already been doing, and just trying to see if I can do it better. And that's where, this New Year's Eve was also kind of different because even though I am carrying over a lot of stuff from 2020, it still feels like I can't really set any goals going into the new year. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. So we do have a vaccine that's on the way. We do have some promise that eventually we're all going to get vaccinated and that we'll be able to return to somewhat of a normal life. I don't know if that's going to be the case. So far, it seems like the people who have taken the vaccine are still there's still some risk of getting this virus, and so it makes it like having that piece of information. I was trying to sit down and put down my goals for the year, which is what I do every year. I have 3 to 5 goals that I put down, like really big goals that I'm trying to achieve for the year, and these goals kind of roll over from year to year, depending on what they were, or like they may be ongoing goals that I really want to achieve. But it changes for the most part every year. And I sat down to do that this time, and I didn't know what exactly to expect. There's usually this sense of like empowerment of, I'm gonna take the world by storm. It's a new year, it's a new me. All that kind of stuff. And I had none of that. I just looked at the list and I was like, well, the things I didn't accomplish in 2020, I guess I'm going to try to accomplish in 2021. And that's the least that I can expect from this new year. Because it doesn't seem like anything has changed. And, not that a switch flicks on, when, at midnight or anything. We're still in the same place we were on New Year's Eve, and before that. But I thought it was interesting that that idea of being motivated into the new year. I've been feeling a lot of, like, I guess this hesitancy to go all in on my goals for 2021. And I don't know if anybody else is feeling the same way, or if, maybe it's this idea that we all have to be cautious because we thought that we were going to conquer this virus to the point that all of us could kind of return to some kind of normal life. And we've seen through 2020 that through the actions of people who aren't taking it seriously, or who are, just even when they took it seriously and they still got the bug, they still got it. There's no way of knowing like what the future is going to hold. And so it seemed kind of weird to make any plans, because we could seriously find ourselves at the end of 2021 in the same place. And that was just, it was sad to feel that way, because I usually feel like I'm going to like accomplish something every year. Like I just, that moment where it's New Year's Eve and it's, we toast our glasses when the ball drops, and it's like, all right, we can start fresh. And not only that, everybody else around me knows that we're starting fresh. Like, it's the expectation of the entire world of that if you are doing something different in January and February, it's because you made a resolution. It's like it's expected, and people aren't going to look at you weird for wanting to try something new, or to take up a habit that is unusual for you. It's a moment to be accepted for wanting to try something, for wanting to change, for wanting to become a better person. And I guess it's not until like March or April where if you're still holding on to your to that habit, to that resolution, that people start to kind of like they're like, oh well, you suck, like you're actually doing the thing you set out to do. I hate that. But I mean, for the most part, a lot of us fall down after a couple months and never get back up to trying to accomplish that goal until the next New Year's like comes around. So I think I don't know what to expect for this year. I don't know what to expect. And the only thing I really know that I can do is to continue to write every day. And even that I wasn't able to do every day during 2020. It was an emotional roller coaster, as I'm sure it was for all of us. And there were some days when I just felt useless. I felt like any attempt to put words onto the page was like a selfish act. Like like who needs what I'm writing? Like who needs these thoughts that are coming out of my head? It seemed like nobody, like nobody would care. And so I had to go through that process of like coming back to it, and eventually I did. And now I'm like, all right, it's 2021. The first, like I'm recording this on January 1st. So I'm like, all right, this is the first day. I got my writing in for the morning, and it's just going to build on that for the rest of the year. And I want to be at the end of the year, like looking at what I did for the year. And my goal has been to write every single day, and I have not accomplished that yet. I've been very close, like maybe 10 days like overall that I through the span of 12 months that I didn't sit down to write for one reason or another, but I really want to try to do that this year. And now that the shock of being in a pandemic has subsided, so to speak, now I can really focus on achieving that goal in 2021. And another goal that I really want to try to accomplish is just honing my skills as a storyteller. I've started to get into a lot more editing, and so I'm doing that, and just like building those skills and making sure that I'm not stagnant in what I'm learning and my growth, because I think I got stagnant during 2020 because I was just in so much despair. Like I just didn't want to do anything, and I didn't want to grow, even though I kept telling myself like I need to grow. I need to make sure that when this lockdown is done, that I can come out of it and I can be even more skilled at something than I was before, or even more in shape, because I started running as well, and I really tried to hone other parts of my life, so that I would come out of this thing a lot better off. And that kind of fell apart, but it's never too late to get back to it. I'm planning to do the same thing this year, like to get back out there and start doing some running, to get into shape, because I feel like I've been so lethargic that I'm really I feel very unhealthy. I feel like my body is kind of like just not to the state that it should be, and it's very worrisome. And I'm like, okay, I gotta start exercising. I gotta start moving around, because I've been stuck in the house all this time, and I don't do much except sit at the computer or like watch TV, or the only kind of exercise I really get is like walking from one end of the house to the other for chores or whatever. So I'm trying to kind of treat this as a reset to all of those things, all of those goals that I really had in the middle of 2020, and trying to bring those into habits and trying to make it part of my life, and really just make it something that's permanent and not as a result of the fact that I was bored or that there was nothing else to do. So guys, I really hope that you're coming into this new year motivated, energized, at least like having some weight kind of like off your shoulders for the moment, so that you can kind of progress towards some goals that maybe you didn't know that you had at the beginning of 2020, but then we had lockdowns and this pandemic and everything, and then you figured out that there was actually some other area of your life that you had goals for, and now you're like, all right, this is the perfect time to actually put like put it into place, or if you've been thinking about it for the last 9 months, that you're like, all right, this is the perfect time to get going on this, because it was a struggle during 2020, and there's some light at the end of the tunnel. There's going to be a vaccine that I can take at some point and allow for some kind of normal life to come back, whatever that means anymore. The whole definition of the normal life has been upended. So yeah, I want the best for all of you guys. I want to see that your goals are being accomplished, that you're becoming more of like a productive artist and writer, filmmaker, whatever it is you're doing, just treating this time to really go after it. And especially because now that we know what living in a pandemic is and what it feels like, now we have the perfect opportunity to put the plan into place and to start going after those goals. And to, it doesn't even have to be a big goal. It needs like just something. There's something that you can focus on that until you're able to kind of like come back to whatever you were doing pre-pandemic, but heck, on the other hand, maybe pre-pandemic was not that great, and so this is kind of giving you a chance to reset everything, and it's like it's just uphill from here. So all right, guys, that's all I got for today. I just wanted to start off this year just really motivated and really trying to put some fire under my ass and put some fire under your ass to kind of like get things going and to approach things in a positive light, because I mean that's all we can really do right now is just keep going, find things that bring us happiness and joy, and to lean into those things, and create things to share with one another, which I really want to do more of that this year. I really want to share more of what I'm doing, and because like being a writer is such a lonely thing to do. It's a lonely job, but to create more content for you guys, to have more things to share, because it feels good to make something and to share it with the world. Even if they reject it, it still feels good to be creative in that way, and to put it out there. So all right, guys, without going into any further tangents, I will be back next week, and until then, I'll talk to you on the next one. And also, if you want to connect with me, I have an email for the podcast. It's tentative.title.with.tim.podcast@gmail.com. Also, I have a Twitter account for the podcast where I post episodes, and that is @title_Tim. And you can find also on the Facebook page, I have a page for the podcast, so you can connect with me there. Looking forward to hearing from all of you, and until then, I'll catch you on the next one.